Today I will be explaining Entity 999 from the Backrooms fandom, aka the Lamenting Sinners. If you click on this video to be terrified, scared to death, or otherwise horrified for your life, then you're in the right place. These creatures are genuinely, and I mean genuinely wild, and they make me question a lot of what I know about the Backrooms. So without further intro, more yapping and all that, let's just get into the lore, shall we? Entity 999 of the Backrooms was not given a proper classification graphic, but if I had to give it one, I'd say it needs at least a class 4, maybe a class 5, due to its unknown information, its deadly properties, and how much of a threat it poses to human life in different Backrooms levels. The page that this level is on begins with a small sentence in Latin. It says, "Libera mente tua," which translates to "free your mind," whatever that means. Instances of Entity 999 take the appearance overall of a fleshy amalgamation with no known origin and no known form. They are highly elusive entities that prefer not to be seen, and they take on multiple different forms and variations depending on what level they live in and where they're at. All of these amalgamations look different, but they still share some of the same overall characteristics. For instance, all of them have this very red, very fleshy exterior, and this blob-like build to them. This flesh is a mixture of muscles and fat tissue, and oftentimes it has other body parts sticking outside of the flesh and halfway inside of it as well. Things like eyeballs and mouths and teeth, and those things are sticking out of this entity's flesh constantly. Now, as scary as that description is of a giant flesh monster, the real scary thing is what these creatures eat. They specifically hunt humans and wanderers in the Backrooms, but not to eat their flesh, not to eat their blood, but to consume their brain tissue. That's right, Entity 999 survives off of brain tissue of wanderers. The creatures have a hatred for people, and they enjoy eating their brains and developing their consciousness inside of them, almost like a hobby, which is insane that I'm even saying that. Each time a human is consumed by one of these fleshy creatures, that human's physical body is absorbed into the flesh of the entity, and that's where you can see those eyes and legs and mouths and stuff from. But the brains and all of the person's thoughts and stuff will be enveloped inside of the entity and absorbed. It's like they acquire energy by eating the minds of people. It's like the game Slither.io. These creatures are usually unnaturally large, and they can be quick depending on what kind of variation they are. The good news is so few of them even exist, they never really show themselves, and the people that have seen them typically don't survive encounters with them. Due to that fact, the information that I'm telling you in this video today is essentially all we have about them. There are several different variants of Entity 999, there are 3 to be exact, and they all have different behaviors and habitats and slightly different descriptions and slightly different things that make me want to not read it anymore. Some of them are disgusting. The first initial variant is known as the Lamenting Pylons. Now these are up there with the most rare instances of 999. It is assumed that the other types of these creatures all spawn and come from Lamenting Pylons. These are kind of like the home base or like the creator of the entire entity. Physically, they range in appearance, but overall, they look to be in a pylon shape. They're stationary, they don't move, and they're connected to the ground beneath them on the various backroom levels through long, fleshy tendrils that act as roots almost, burrowing into the carpet fibers in whatever level they find themselves in. They are long and tall and skinny, fleshy, pole-shaped creatures, and they're almost tubular in shape. That's why they're called pylons, obviously. On top of the pylons is a row of teeth, although they don't really use them, because the pylons are where the minds of the human victims of Entity 999s are stored. These things kind of act like a USB drive or an external hard drive for these Entity 999s to plug up to and input the human minds of the people they just ate. So a random 999 will eat somebody, they'll walk over to one of these pylons, they'll connect to it, and they'll upload the victim's data from their brain into that pylon. Now luckily for you, pylons do not move. move. They're 100% stuck in the ground by those tendrils, and they will remain in the same spot till they die. They're also kind of like the life force of the other variants of this creature, so if you blow one of them up or like chop it down, the entities nearby will get less and less strong, and they will stop eating people for their brains. Pylons also smell horrible, like rot and iron and decaying flesh. This might be a defense mechanism to confuse people, or it might just be because it's a giant fleshy blob. Whatever the case is, you need to avoid the flesh poles at all costs. Variant number 2 is called the lamenting spiders. Now, these are the most infamous and dangerous type of entity 999, and you're gonna see why. They look to be a multi-legged, fleshy scorpion or spider-like creature with multiple rows of razor-sharp teeth. They're fast, they're big, they're stealthy, and they can climb very well because they have a bajillion legs. They're covered in a thicky, fleshy, plate-like material that looks like human flesh, but it acts kind of like armor, and they just do one thing: kill people. They hunt specifically by stalking their prey. Oftentimes, they hide on the ceiling or walls above you, and then jump down on the poor, unsuspecting wanderers. Again, they do this for their brains. When one of these spiders does end up killing a person and getting their brain, they will absorb it, and then eventually go back to a nearby pylon and attach itself to that pylon and transfer that human's brain over towards it, feeding the mother, you could say. If a spider does not have a pylon near it, or if any other of these entities does not have a pylon near it, it will eventually shrivel up, get smaller, and die. That's why it's so important to kill the pylons while you can, because you're not going to be able to kill a giant fleshy spider. Variant number 3, the lamenting beholders. Now, these are quite rare to encounter throughout the Backrooms levels, although they are more common deeper and deeper as you go. They should be avoided at all costs nonetheless, and it's because beholders appear as large, floating, fleshy eyeballs with tendrils sprouting from their body. These creatures do not have mouths, they don't have ears or anything, they're just one large eye, but they still pose dangers to people who see them. If you look into the eye of a lamenting beholder, you will immediately be put in a trance-like state, almost mesmerized by them, you could say. Once you're mesmerized, the eye will then surgically remove that wanderer's brain using the tendrils attached to it while the wanderer is still alive and consumed. So the eye will use the tentacles, rip your head off, eat your brains while you're alive, and while you're screaming, it will just be slurping up your brains. I hope YouTube does not demonetize me for that one. If you encounter one of these creatures, do not look at it, run away. They're not very fast. Just make sure you do not look into the eye of a lamenting beholder. So that was the last confirmed variant of Entity 999, although there is one more that's said to exist deeper into the Backrooms. Its unconfirmed name is the Euclid's Despair, and it's supposed to be a large white creature made up of these incomprehensible geometric shapes. It's kind of like a deity or an angel, kind of like a seraphim from the Christian Bible, but nothing else is known of these variants. They seem very powerful though, almost like a god in some ways, and it's not confirmed if they even exist, so don't go looking for them. But as I said earlier, all of the variants I've discussed have similar descriptions with their fleshy appearance. They all hate humans, they all want to eat brains to envelop the knowledge and thoughts of that person, and they almost act like demons. And because of this, they've grown to be very, very feared throughout the Backrooms. No one wants to see or interact with any Entity 999 because people typically like to have their brains intact. These creatures hunt human brains for sport. They love doing it, and all of it just leads to more questions that we don't have the answers to. Like, where do the pylons connect to? You know, they're in the ground with their tendrils, but where do those tendrils grow? What's the purpose of consuming the brains of the humans? What do they gain from it? How do these creatures get so powerful? Who controls them? And where did they all come from? They act as sort of a virus, of a fungal infection of the deep Backrooms levels. Where the carpet is damp and the lights are dark, these fleshy creatures grow out of it and hunt people. Truly, there's never been a Backrooms entity that just wants the human brain so bad, and I think that's one of the reasons this creature's so terrifying. I mean, besides this disgusting appearance and all. It's kind of like a dentist entity that I discussed a few weeks ago, but somehow even worse. Let me know in the comments if you think you could survive an encounter with an instance of Entity 999, even though if you say you could, you're lying. So, that's it for the video. Thank you for watching to the end. If you did enjoy this explanation, please leave a like. I'd really appreciate it. This entity literally was very unique. I'm glad I found it. Its page will be in the description below, as well as the links to my other channels, my social medias, and all that. Thank you all so much for all you do. I love and appreciate everybody. Lots more is coming to the Brutally channel. If you have any suggestions on what I should cover, drop them in the comments below. With all that said, I will see you in the next video. Peace and love.